another edition of Inside the Shield with Pro Football Moms. I'm your host, Elisha Jarrett, and along with my co-host, Mr. Rob Vaka, we have another exciting mom for you today. Today we have none other than Tyeler Davison, mother of Atlanta Falcons, Tyeler Davison.
It's going to be a great show. Tyeler Davison plays alongside your son Grady on the defensive line.
He does.
He's out of the West Coast, out of Fresno State. This is going to be a really fun episode. Look, if you're tuning in today and you're watching us and listening on a platform other than Brinks TV, do yourself a favor. If you want to win memorabilia, you want to win a prize, you want to participate in interactive gaming, go to Brinks.tv and create a profile right now. It'll take you 30 seconds. Go to Brinks.tv. You can participate. You can win prizes. It'll be a heck of a lot of fun.
That's Brinks.tv. Go there, sign in. Let's get it going.
All right, so welcome, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to see you.
Yes.
Great to see you guys.
Yes. Katie, it's amazing to watch Tyeler play on the side of Grady and the energy that they give each other. But what I really love about Tyeler is what he does, on the field, but definitely what he does off the field. For you, tell us and tell the people that's watching and listening, when did you know that Tyeler had the potential to perhaps play in the NBA, in the NFL? Wow.
Could be the NBA. He's an athlete.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if he was good at basketball ever, but, honestly, when he was in high school, a lot of people just started telling us, wow, he's really good. And as a mom sitting in the stands, I used to kind of just think, well, I don't really see him doing anything different than anybody else, but whatever. So he has always wanted to play in the NFL, and we've just always told him to go for his goals and his dreams. But when he started getting some awards in high school, he played both ways in high school. So that started to kind of give us a little oh, well, maybe he could. And then he just started going to combines and, talking to some of these coaches, and all of a sudden he was getting some letters from people. And so I guess just in high school and then in college, a lot of the coaches just would tell us what a great kid he was, and how he was super coachable, which is a really great thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think just kind of from what people were telling us, because, you kind of love your kid no matter what, and you always think they're the greatest. So when someone else tells you that, you're kind of just oh, thanks. But I think that's probably when we really realized that, wow, you might have a shot at this. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're watching him play high school football in the Phoenix area, and yes, as a mom, you see these kids running around, and you see touchdowns being scored and quarterbacks being sacked, and you're like, I guess he's good. I guess he's as good as everybody else. So all of a sudden, he goes to Fresno State. What's that experience like for Tyeler and your family? And was there something there while he was playing at Fresno State that maybe it really started to click, and you and your family were like, wow, this really could be happening?
Right. Yeah. When one of the funniest things to me about him going to Fresno was Coach Hill. Pat Hill was the head coach there, and he recruited him. And he came into our house, and he told us to sit down at our kitchen table. And he said, Tyeler, what do you like to play? And Tyeler said, well, I really like defense. And he said, all right, I'll give you a shot, but if you're no good, I'm going to make you play offensive line. And Tyeler said, okay, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to play defense, and I'm going to start. And I think just how Tyeler is, he's just so determined, and he's a really hard worker, and he's very goal oriented. So when we went to Fresno State and they wanted him to redshirt his first year, my husband and I were like, oh, this is good for you, because college is an adjustment. You need to figure out your classes, and you're on your own for the first time, and it'll be good to be that guy that's on the scout team, and you're learning everything. And that first year he was a scout team player of the year. And my husband was kind of like, huh, okay. He got in a few, like, not like fights necessarily, but when they're at practice, like some of the older guys would try to push him around, and Tyeler was like, you're not going to push me around. So I think that once he was at Fresno State, he just really had his, like, we call it tunnel vision. And my dad used to always, and he still does, tells him fire and hammer, and tunnel vision, focus on what you want and your goals. And so he was just really determined. He's like, I'm going to make it to the NFL. He was, he played a lot. Like once he wasn't the red shirt, he did start, and he was in there all the time. So he was one of those guys that never came out. And, every coach that was just like, oh, he's just such a hard worker. He's a different person on the field because he's so nice off of the field, but he has like this mean streak in him on the field. So I was like, well, that's nice to know that he's nice off the field, because I don't want him to be mean. But only when he's playing up against guys who aren't very nice to him. Yeah. But yeah, he just really got a few like recognitions. And our biggest thing with him at Fresno State was to be more like an academic All-American and really focus on his studies, because, football was great. That's what he wanted to do. But we were just really realistic with him and said, if you can't make it, then you need to have something to fall back on. So his studies were super important to us too. We tried to instill that in him. And so he got a few of those awards, and then he was kind of getting like some of the recognition for like other things. And then, Mountain West defensive player. I don't even know. He has so many awards down there, but, so I think just like from there, it was kind of like, yeah, I guess everyone does think he's good. So, well, he as a parent, it's just crazy.
he is, and that's speaking from a different perspective than from where you sit. But he's amazing. So he got drafted to the Saints, and then he spent some time there, and then Saints time is up. Now he's Atlanta Falcons. The two rivals, right? How was that transition for you guys?
I think my son had the hardest time transitioning because he just loved the Saints, and, and just like, he's like one of Tyler's biggest fans. So we have a funny thing where I made him on the first day of school, when it was Tyler's first year at Atlanta, I made Zach wear all Atlanta stuff, and I have a picture of him where he's like pointing to his shirt, and he's kind of like, but yeah, it's interesting because you just kind of support your kids wherever they go. And it was an interesting transition. I was a little more worried for him that people were going to be like, oh, you're a traitor, and not know how people would welcome him into Atlanta. But it was good, and he actually loves the team. He loves his teammates. He loves the area. So he's actually really happy. He was happy with New Orleans, but I think life-wise, Atlanta has been a really good change. So like, I see how happy he is. So it makes it a little bit easier, but it's just kind of goes with the territory, right? You kind of go wherever your kid goes. So it wasn't too bad. We do miss the New Orleans food, though.
Yeah, the food's really good. We'll have to get Tyeler together. There's another really famous former Saint who was also a Falcon. Oh, yeah. And that's Morton Anderson, who is the all-time leading scorer for the Falcons. He was, until recently, the all-time leading scorer in NFL history. He's one of only 2 kickers in the Hall of Fame. So we'll have to get those guys together. But back to your comment from a few minutes ago, you talked about you want him to be nice off the field, and he is nice off the field. What's really interesting, right? I don't think a lot of fans see it that way because they only see these guys on Sundays, either on TV or from the stands. And a guy like Tyeler or Grady Jarrett or other guys around the league like Bud Dupree, who sacks quarterbacks, or Deion Jones on our team. I know all those guys, and they're just super nice guys. And they're really normal guys off the field. Tell us what it's like. Bring fans and our viewers inside of what's Tyeler like off the field, what makes him special, and why is he that guy that people talk about that's really great off the field?
You know, Tyeler is so different off the field, I feel like, because he can be so like intense. And he is just a really laid back, easygoing, funny. He's quiet at first, I think, but once people get to know him, he's got a good sense of humor. He's a big family guy. Like, family means a lot to him. And he's just, you know, I mean, he will talk to anyone. He has the weirdest conversations with, like, our kids. My husband and I, when we go out to dinner with them, I kid you not, we're like, what are they talking about? Like, they just come up, their conversations are so strange. But, you know, he's just he likes to do, he's kind of a homebody, to be honest. All my kids are, they're very kind of like introverted a little bit, but they're, you know, they like to just chill and hang out with each other and just have some downtime. But, you know, if he's out and about and sees people, he's always willing to, you know, take a selfie or give an autograph if people recognize him. I think some people don't always recognize him as well, because as much as someone else, maybe Grady, because he's not always, you know, he's a pretty, like, tries to stay out of the limelight, stay out of trouble kind of guy. But he's just he's a funny guy. He's just, you know, and he's very sweet. He's always been very affectionate. So, yeah, I don't know. I can
certainly relate to you on the dinner comment. You know, we're out to dinner with the kids, and you're absolutely right. I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, it goes like totally over my head. They're cracking up, and I'm like, okay, I missed something else.
Yeah, my kids had a conversation one Christmas Eve about what if dogs walked around on two legs for like an hour, like, and they were laughing, and they were like, it was hilarious. But my husband and I were just really like eye roll, you know, like, what are they talking about? But
that may be a trivia question we ask when here. So people be ready. Yeah, okay. That's coming up here in a few minutes.
Yeah.
The two-legged dog.
It's the dinner
conversation. Why do dogs not walk on their two legs?
Katie, so Grady and I, we have like this cooking contest. He's a great cook, right? And okay. I think I'm a great cook. But, you know, every now and then he'll call me and he wants, you know, his mama to fix him something. What is it when Tyeler calls you and say, Mom, I'm hungry for what is it that he wants you to cook?
Probably chicken divan. I don't know if anyone really knows what that is. It's like a casserole. It has chicken and broccoli, and it's like cream of chicken soup, but then it has like curry seasoning in it. And it's just something my mom made. And honestly, Tyeler will never turn away any food. Like, the guy can eat. But I think I would say that's probably one of his most favorite things that I make. And if he comes home, and when he does come home, I usually try to make it once, and I'll say, oh, guess what's for dinner? And he'll say, chicken divan. So he gets like, his eyes get all big and excited if we're having that. But so yeah, I did have to write that recipe down for his girlfriend. So she does have it. I don't know if she's made it yet, but we'll see. I'll ask her.
Okay.
Probably another trivia question.
Yes,
probably
for sure.
Coming up.
For sure.
There you go.
Now I'm hungry. My stomach is making noises. I'm envisioning the chicken divan. I know exactly what it is. And
it's so good.
I expect that when you come to Atlanta next, we're going to find you and we're going to eat chicken divan.
Okay, sounds
come
good.
use my
sounds kitchen
like so I can have some too.
Oh, I would love to come use your kitchen.
So Tyeler's played for 2 teams in the league. God willing, he plays for a bunch more years. After football, if you had a crystal ball, what is it that Tyeler's going to do with his days and his time and his talent after football?
Well, I definitely know he wants to have a family, so I could see him, you know, being a dad, and that actually makes me emotional. But, you know, it's funny too, because he's always talked about going back to school and getting his engineering degree. So as funny as that sounds, he wanted to be an aeronautical engineer, and my husband's like, you know, I don't think you can fit in the little pilot thing very well. And then football, kind of the way football scheduling was in college, the engineering classes really overlapped with practice time. So he had to like switch his major. So he ended up doing, what did he do? Oh, criminal justice. So I also could see him working with kids. He's always been so good with kids. I think he'd be a fabulous coach, to be totally honest. But yeah, I don't know. I think like maybe looking into the engineering thing, he talked about maybe getting a second degree while he was playing. And my husband was like, you're nuts, dude. Like, no, just focus on football. You can always go back, you know, after you're done. So, but yeah, I think definitely like he's going to be a really good dad someday. And, you know, just we're probably working with kids, but I could see him being that dad that's coaching his kids, playing flag football and all that other fun stuff. So, yeah,
so
I guess we'll see.
you definitely took us through the crystal ball, what we think Tyler, you know, will do after football. But you also took us down memory lane a little bit about some of the things that he used to do. Let's stay right there for a minute. When you think about Tyler and, you know, some of the things that excite you most about him, tell us some of your best memories of Tyler as a child.
Oh goodness. So like I said, he's always been a little quiet and like shy at first. So I have, you know, and he's also loved just being outdoors and fishing, and we've always had a boat. So like he loves to fish. We had a jet ski for a while. So him and I would like go on that together. He's always loved camping and stuff. I'm not a big camper. So, you know, that was a little rough for me usually, but, and, you know, when he was little, he loved really hard. Like he loved his friends. And he never, I always had to remind him that he was a little bit bigger than most of the kids, because I remember getting like phone calls from his teacher in elementary school, and she'd say, hi, Mrs. Davison. Yeah, you know, can you guys talk to Tyler maybe about not being so rough on the playground? And, you know, he's kind of sitting on this other kid. So I would pick him up and I would say, buddy, you know, what are you doing? And he'd say, we're just playing that dinosaur game. And, you know, like, I don't know, like, I don't really know what the game was, but all I knew was like, it included dinosaurs and like sitting on the kids. And I was just like, oh boy, I'm like, bud, you're like a little too big for your one friend. So just try not to smush him. So, I mean, he's just like always happy-go-lucky, like, you know, lived in the moment. He's still kind of like that. He's definitely a live in the moment kind of guy. And just, you know, always ready for an adventure. Like he just, you know, he loved Legos. He, you know, typical boy, like just always wanting to do things. And,
so
you know, we'd go to like San Diego.
Let me piggyback on that same question a little bit and ask you, since he's been in the league, what's one of your best memories? Saints or
I would
Falcons,
say, yeah, you know, oh gosh, I have so many, but he promised, him and my daughter made a pinky promise that if he got drafted, he would take her on her Disney cruise. So after his first season at Christmas, he surprised them with a family trip on one of the Disney cruises. And we did Universal Studios for like a day before also, because she's a huge Harry Potter fan. And I mean, the whole time her eyes were just wide. And this is, you know, my one that's getting ready to have a baby right now. So she's, you know, she's obviously a lot older, but she, I mean, that was probably just the coolest like thing that he's like, he, you know, he really kept his pinky promise to her, and he took the whole family on a Disney cruise. So that was really cool.
Oh,
that was really fun. Yeah.
Love it. Making memories. You know, I think that's what is so cool about getting to know so many of these pro athletes. The average fan, right, as I said earlier, turns the game on Sunday or Thursday night or Sunday Night Football or Monday night. And I don't think we take the time, and maybe we shouldn't, to understand what's behind the mask, right? Because all we really see is the helmet and mask and the violence, not violence in a terrible sense, but violence in terms of sport, right? That your son and Elisha's son perpetrate as they try to get to the quarterback or the ball carrier. But the reality is there's Disney princess moments.
Yeah.
And there's funny stories about two-legged dogs. And there's chicken divan. And there's all this goofy stuff behind it, right? That is really what makes the moments. The moment isn't the sack on Sunday. That's awesome, and you love it, but that's not the deep, meaningful moment. Tell us a little bit about Atlanta for Tyeler now. So food, culture, all the things that New Orleans is known for, that's a good stop on the journey for him. Now he's in Atlanta. What's his favorite things to do in Atlanta? Is there a food, a restaurant, an experience, the culture? What about Atlanta does he talk about with you other than two-legged dogs at Christmas?
I think, well, Atlanta's where he bought his first place. So he owns a condo over in Buckhead. So that was an experience for him that he was like really proud of and excited. But yeah, he loves, like I said, he loves all kinds of food and will not turn a meal down. But I think just even the love of like the different cultures that he's able to experience in Atlanta, like he'll tell me, he'll say, oh, it's just so weird. You wouldn't think that they'd have this many different type of cuisine or these different types of restaurants. And, you know, last year being COVID was just kind of a bummer because we really weren't able to come see him and visit. And, you know, and then them like taking stuff out. But yeah, he likes, I mean, he still loves oysters. Like he's definitely an oyster guy. And I don't know if he got that from being in New Orleans or not, but he definitely loves oysters. And some of the, you know, he's taken us normal, like if we're out there, we'll go to a restaurant and he'll be like, oh, this is like one of my favorite places. They have really good steak, you know. And so, yeah, I think he likes like the different options that he has there because he did get so used to like really good cuisine in New Orleans, but he's really found that Atlanta's pretty similar. You know, there's a lot of really great places to eat, and they've gone to a couple wineries like up north, I think, that he said were just really amazing. And he'll say, we did go out to Lake Lanier, like that summer of like pre-COVID kind of. And that, of course, my husband is a big boater. So that was like amazing. And, you know, he's always like talking to, you know, Ramsey about the different lakes or whatever, you know, for fishing and stuff like that. So I think he just does like the atmosphere a lot better in Atlanta. But yeah, he's really just kind of made it his home, and he really enjoys it, and he likes the people.
Yep.
Lakes, wineries, cuisine.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get in the car and get going.
Right.
I mean, give me some wine and food while on the boat.
There you go.
Love it.
Okay. Katie, tell us about game day. How does the family, what does game day look like for you guys?
Well, we're in Arizona, so a lot of the times we don't get the game like on our TV. So we used to go to just a little local sports bar because you could watch the game, and they had these little speaker boxes because my husband and I have to hear. Like I like to hear them, you know, when I can't just watch. I'll like lose focus. So, but then now that we had my daughter, she's done with college, but then my son now, Zach, he is a college student, and the NFL Sunday Ticket allows college students to, I guess I'm giving a plug, they're allowed to get a subscription because they're a college student. And so now we're able to watch the game at home, which is great.
Okay.
Because it's just a little bit easier, and because the games are super early here for us.
Yeah.
They're always like 10 o'clock or 11. So, but we're very superstitious, and we're very like, everyone has to be in Falcons gear. If you're not wearing the jersey, you better be wearing something that says Falcons. I used to wear like this sparkly red lipstick. Yeah, and Tyler would always be like, whoa. And then I always have to wear my lucky necklace. If I'm wearing this is always like, makes sure he doesn't get hurt. I don't know why. I just have weird superstitions. But yeah, we just kind of, I always send him a text message. And it usually says something along the lines of, good luck, push somebody down, but have fun. And that we love you and we're super proud of you. You know, but yeah, I usually try to throw in a push him down kind of a scenario for him.
So you're the mom that says push him down, and the school is calling you saying, Mrs. Davison, Tyler's pushing this kid down.
I know.
Wonder why.
I know, right? Yeah. I mean, you know, his job is more to block the hole up, but I'm always like, just push him down because they don't need to push. Don't let anyone push you down. That's what we used to tell him when he was little.
I'm with you
don't
on
let
that.
anyone push you down, push him around. So you do the pushing. So
Yeah.
I'll usually say that, but I try to make sure I get the text in before he goes out to warm up, so he sees it that morning. Mm-hmm. And usually he'll send me a little message real quick before, like, they've come back in and before they go out again. Mm-hmm. So, and my husband does the same thing. He tries to text him, but I'm way better at it. Like, Ramsey just forgets. So
You're a better texter. Yeah. You win the texting war. Your husband comes in second. You're the champion of the texting.
Bless Ramsey's heart. He's just like a scatterbrain sometimes. He's, he's always trying to think of 20 minutes. Yeah. Right.
And it's up to y'all to pull up the slack.
Right.
And handle it. So we've learned a lot about Tyler. We've learned that he's funny. We learned that he likes any kind of food that's edible. We learned that he was the dinosaur while the other kids were the kids. He was the dinosaur, and he was the size of a dinosaur. Tell us, as we start to wrap up, what will Tyler's legacy be when we all look back 30, 40 years from now? What will people say about Tyeler Davison?
I hope they say that that he was just that guy, whether they played with him or knew him, that he was just loyal. He was loyal to he's always been loyal to his family and his friends, but just that he was that guy that always did his job. Mm-hmm. So, he's kind of known for that. Like, some people say, oh, well, he's just pretty reliable. So I'm pretty sure that'll be a good legacy to have, that he was, loyal, reliable, and just kind of did what he was told on the field a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Even though sometimes he does say he has to risk it for the biscuit, but he doesn't do it that much.
Tyler and Grady are really good friends, and he's definitely someone that I so enjoy being around. Like, he's a great person. Before we wrap up, though, if there's a charity that Tyler supports, that the family that you all supports, tell us a little bit about that so that the audience watching and listening can kind of know about that as well.
Sure. Right now, I'm not sure if he has one specific one that he focuses solely on, but I do know that the Boys and Girls Club is something that is really kind of dear to his heart, because that's where he first started playing football. That's where he went after school to do his homework and stuff. And they just have such great programs. And that probably helped him a lot, like when he was younger. I know it helped me when he, would go there after school. They'd really help him with homework and get to know kids. So I I definitely think Boys and Girls Club is something he did when he was at Fresno State, work with kind of like a halfway house for troubled teen boys who just maybe weren't really on the right path. And I don't really know the name of it, but he did love doing that because he would show them how to work out and show them how to like take that maybe anger or aggression that they had towards life and like, you know, let's go work out or let's go play some basketball. So, you know, I think like he just kind of works with different things. I don't know if he's really found the one that he like, you know, just is solely focused on, but I do know that the Boys and Girls Club and like those other kind of places are, you know, things that he likes to give. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. What I love about that, Katie, is that I think just like it takes 11 players on defense to make the defense go, it really takes all types of people to be philanthropists and help causes, because not every NFL player can have their own charity. If every NFL player had their own charity, that would be wacky, right? So I'm that way. I support 20 or whatever number of causes, right? And I think it's really cool that Tyeler has an affinity to help kids and help youth and to help those guys in the halfway house situation where they were in trouble and maybe give them some hope and inspiration and maybe tamp down the anger and show them possibility and hope. I just think that's a really great characteristic. So as we now really wrap up that legacy thing, you know, maybe we look back and the number one thing Tyeler accomplished is in his life is not on the football field. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe he changes somebody's life or changes lives, and that's his legacy. But it was really cool learning about him today through a mother's eyes, and we really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Katie, thank you so very much for joining us today. And to everyone, this is Katie Davison, mother of Tyeler Davison, Atlanta Falcons defensive tackle. Thanks again, Katie, for being with us today.
Thanks, Katie.
You're so welcome. Thank you.